let's go ahead and jump into the tech news. Starting with, these rumors have been flying for quite a while, and the more rumors you see and the more times they are corroborated, the more times I feel they might be onto something. So the RTX 4090 is predicted to have a 2,520 megahertz boost clock, 21 gigabit per second, 24 gigs of GDDR6, have a 450 watt estimated TDP. And yeah, what is that? 16,384 CUDA cores and 32 floating point. So yeah, it's gonna be
beefy.
High.
Yeah. This is almost 50% higher than the 3000 series.
Yeah. So between 5 nanometer process improvements over the 7 nanometer or 6 nanometer, I guess was on the Samsung to TSMC 5 nanometer. Between that and the overall die surface area improvements, we could be looking at between 70 and 100% improvement year over year over the 3000 series cards.
That's insane.
I have a 3090 and good God. God, that card is fast. and I paired it with a Ryzen 5950X. Like, aside from the 12900 KF and the 3090 Ti, I have the fastest consumer parts that you can buy. And holy crap, they cut through anything that I want. No questions asked. But no, let's just go ahead and double it year over year.
Yeah.
Like, I thought those days were well behind us as far as, like remember, Steve, in the early 2000s and even going back into the 90s and whatnot, where you could literally every 6 months double graphics card performance.
Oh yeah. There was a reason why people we'll skip a generation because we know the next one after that is just going to be like so much better.
Right. I mean, and back in those days, we did it with CPUs too. And we've talked about like the race to 1 gigahertz a number of times on the show, but going from 300 to 600 to 1200 megahertz, I believe was only a 18-month period. Yeah. Like from 300 megahertz, Pentium 2 being the top of the line offering from Intel, to AMD cracking the 1 gigahertz mark at 1 gigahertz, and then Intel coming right in behind him and doing 1.1 and 1.2. I mean, 18 months of each other. You could have built a PC and had it been 1/4 the power 18 months later.
Yeah, I know. And it would have been top of the line.
And I did.
Yeah, I know. A lot of us did. We're like, yeah, don't buy computers for investment unless you're going to buy it for work. That's why I never bought, like back then, especially back in the 90s. Well, I didn't have that kind of money, but I never bought top of the line because I'm like, it may last me longer, but it's always better to get that middle of the road cost to performance type of thing, because it could still last you a good amount of time when you're not shelling out so much money.
Yep. We are finally getting the jump in memory from the RTX 3080 series. No longer are we going with 8 or 12 gigabytes. In fact, we are jumping all the way up to 16 gigabytes, and I've got to say, what took so long?
Yeah.
And then the RTX 4070 is expected to have 10 gigabytes of GDDR6, not GDDR6X, a 300 watt TDP, and 7,168 CUDA cores. So just under half of the CUDA cores of the 4090.
Yep.
So this is about to get really interesting, y'all.
It is. And the thing is, and I've talked about this on the show several times and how I was really jonesing to get a 3000 series. And then as soon as they were released, they were gone because the cryptocurrency miners just snatched them all up, and then they were just priced out.
Yeah.
No way I can get it. And I sold my 2000 series specifically because I wanted to buy a 3000 series. And I was like really bummed about that. So finally, now, as everybody knows, the price is going down on cards again.
Did you jump on one?
No,
Not yet.
Well,
Okay.
I was tempted because I've been seeing some sales where it's actually getting below MSRP with like mail-in rebates and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, now it's starting to become more reasonable. But then I saw these specs, and I'm like,
and you're like, I can wait.
I could wait a couple more months and see.
Yeah.
Because I'm just right at the cusp. And I'd feel bad if I bought something and it'd be like, well, you just paid the same amount of money that if you just waited, 50% more performance.
Yep.
So yeah, I think I'm gonna wait, just based on this.
Yeah. I have my 3090 now. I also paid $2,700 for my 3090.
Oof.
Yeah. But I needed the memory for video editing. It wasn't like, oh, I want the gaming chops. I can wait.
Dude, we don't need to. We can push that. I mean, the 3080, 3070. It has decent 4K performance.
Right, exactly. But
so,
they also only have 8 gigs of RAM. And I went, I need more than 8 gigs of video memory.
For video editing, yes.
But I'm also not going to go down to, like a Quadro card or something like that to get 16 gigs, but get 1070 level performance. Like, I still need some decent gaming performance. I mean, I was on a 2080 at the time. But 24 gigs was kind of the only option. So, and in fact, I tried going with an AMD with the 6900 XT, but Adobe Premiere hates that card. It hates it with a fiery passion. So yeah, had to double down and pivot and go towards a 3000 series at the top of the market. I guess not quite the top. They were selling for like 3300 at one point, but still painful.
Yeah, that probably hurt. Yeah, knowing that you're not going to resell it for like investment purposes or anything like that. So that's a bad set. It's a write-off business expense type of a thing.
Well, it was a business expense, and it's a founder's card, so I can use it for comparisons for years to come. And I've also got a 3070 that I paid $1,000 for, and that one was literally just for a benchmark card. Like I don't use that card day to day, but I needed that card for benchmarking some other video cards that had come in. So yeah, it's weird, the things that I have to spend my money on versus like get to spend my money on versus things that come in for review. Just because something comes in for review doesn't mean it's free. In fact, something that comes in for review equals like 20 hours of work. And as every self-employed person will tell you, time is money.
Time is money. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So, I'm not going to complain about it, but at the same time, it's like, it's not free.
No, it's not free. I mean, yes, you get it, but there's expected work behind. There's never such thing as a free lunch.
Right.
That saying rings true in this particular case. Because you may get the hardware for free, but you got to put a lot of work into doing something behind it.
Yeah. I've been asked a number of times, how do you become a tech YouTuber? Like, how do I like get to the point where I can start getting gear for free? And the thing I will always tell everyone is, well, put $20,000 into it first.
Yeah.
And I had spent something like $24,000 of my own money before I got to the point where I was starting to get cases for review. It's like, yay, $100.